Okay, we're going to give a quick demonstration of the EC-160, which is the newer version of the EC-150, which I put out a couple of years ago. The EC-150 is the eddy current monitor, and the EC-160 is the eddy current meter, mainly because of the addition of this light-up 7-segment LED display, which allows you to see the readings clearly in a darkened room or at night. This is actually one of the only meters made for paranormal work on the market that features this kind of LED display. Most of the other meters, as a lot of you may know, are equipped with a backlit LCD screen, which can be a little bit hard to read, especially at distances or over your infrared cameras. This will produce a little bit easier to read display. Let me give you a little bit of a tour of the features on this unit. Up here we have the alarm indicator light, which ties directly into the meter. When you get a reading, this light will flash and slowly start to glow the stronger the reading that it gets. Down here we obviously have the light up 7-segment LED display and the power switch for the 7-segment display. Now the reason I have this on a separate power switch is because the meter and the display are on two separate battery supplies. The reason for that is that this particular type of display uses up about 25 milliamps of power and can go through a 9-volt battery a little quicker than you might want. So tying them in on the same supply would cause your meter to die a lot quicker than you'd like. So you have the option here of turning on a display or turning it off to conserve some battery power when you're just waiting for an alarm to occur. The alarm and the meter will function if the battery for the display dies. In fact, the battery life of this meter, without the display, you could leave it turned on for a week at a time, 2 weeks at a time, and still come back, and you'd still have enough battery power to produce your reading. So you could leave it on for a very long period of time. The display will probably last you maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours of continuous use. So that is why I hooked it onto a separate power switch. Okay. Up here we have the typical probe input, which was available and seen on the EC-150. It's a thumb screw type of connector where you can wrap a wire around it, or you can hook an alligator clip to it, and the top accepts the banana plug type input, so you can make your own little probes and own little devices, and I'll get into how we use this and why we use it a little bit later on. We have the data logging output. Everything you see on this screen, and even if the screen is off, every reading that this gets is output through these two connectors and can go out to any data logger, which will accept voltage inputs. So you can record your session or your paranormal investigation, and without the meter on, you could get, for example, you could get a data logger that will run for 2 weeks. You could have this in a room for 2 weeks running continuously, recording every single piece of activity. Pretty interesting. Down here we have the calibration knob. This device is used to calibrate the unit. It's a 40-turn potentiometer, so you can be very precise in your calibrations. And of course we have the power switch, which we're going to hit right now and give an example of how to calibrate this machine. Now the first thing you do when you turn on this machine, as you can see right now, it's alarming because it has not been calibrated. First thing you do is turn this knob all the way clockwise. The alarm will go out, the meter will show just 0.01, and what you want to do is slowly turn the knob counterclockwise until the indicator light turns on and you get a reading. Okay, as you slowly start to get the reading, pull your hand away. The trick here is to get the meter to alarm as you approach, but to not alarm when your hand is away. So it's kind of a sensitive device where you have to be a little detailed in how you calibrate it. As you can see, as I approach the device, it starts to give a reading, but I'm not touching it. That's the kind of sensitivity we want, and you can be very detailed with this potentiometer, and it will start to give a reading, as you can see, as we get closer to the probe area. The closer I get, the higher the reading, and then eventually I know you can't see it here in this video, but this light is flickering to show a very high reading. It only glows steadily when it's not as high a reading. You can use devices, anything that's metal, this device will work with. I made this little alligator clip with banana plug here, which actually would come with the device when you purchase it. It acts as a little bit of an antenna, and you can plug it into the monitor. Now, anything you plug in is going to throw the machine out of calibration again, so you need to calibrate it once more. It becomes more sensitive with probe than it does by itself, so I recommend using a probe. As you can see, the closer I get, I'm not even touching this probe at the top, and it's giving a reading. It's sensing the eddy currents within my body. And if you want to learn a little bit more about eddy currents, you can visit kneecaps.org, www.kneecaps.org. I will post something up there today about that, and you can take a look and see what it's all about. But as you can see, I get a little bit closer, and it gives us a reading. This is not sensing electromagnetic fields. It is not sensing electric fields. It is sensing a phenomenon that is created by opposing energy fields. When two energies converge, they create eddy currents within a conductor and on the surface of this metal conductor. Now, you don't need to use just this antenna. For example, I used the EC-150 on an investigation and hooked it to an electric blanket, the wiring in an electric blanket. So that's pretty much the story behind the eddy current monitor. And if you want to change the batteries are located in the back. Just remove these 4 screws, and you can change the batteries. Again, there are 2 battery supplies. The one for the meter will last you about, you could leave it on continuously. It could last you a month or more of being on. It's a very long battery life for the meter itself. The display will last you maybe a couple of hours of continuous use. I haven't let it run down completely, so I don't have a specific time on that. But as you can see, it can be fairly useful. You can also hook this to a Faraday cage, or anything metal at all. Refrigerator doors, anything that you know, if there's a device or something you want. Even when I go into trade shows and I display these units, I use television antennas because it makes a great aerial display, and it covers a little bit of a range. Anything you plug in, you need to recalibrate. But that is the EC-160, and you can purchase this device at www.kneecaps.org. We will have that up for purchase at the end of today. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me at mbaker@kneecaps.org. Thanks, and have a great day.